What's up? I heard you wanted to make a video sales letter or a VSL. So I made this video just to show you how simple it can be. So let's just get into it. So, just as a disclaimer, your offer comes before your traffic and your traffic comes before your conversions. So what does that mean? Well, your video sales letter and your about page in general are what's known as conversions, right? When you make your VSL better, when you add graphics, when you add copy, that increases your conversions, meaning when people visit your about page, the percent that convert are the ones that join, that pay you, or if it's a free community, just join the community. And when you want someone to convert, you first need them to visit your page, which is traffic. So if you don't have your traffic dialed in, if you don't have more than 100 people going to your about page every week, then spending too much time on your VSL or your about page in general can be kind of a waste of time, which is okay. You know, we all do it. I've made that mistake before, but I just want to let you know now so you don't waste any more time. So that this doesn't waste any more time. Not a slight against you. Anyway, so try to get more than 100 people visiting your about page per day so that you can get the data you need to make improvements over time. And then, of course, before your traffic, you also need to make sure that your offer is great, that your community has something to offer. Like if you've read $100 million Offers by Alex Hormozy, then you'll know the 4 parts of the value equation: the dream outcome, the perceived likelihood of achievement over time delay and effort and sacrifice. If you don't know that, I would highly advise you read $100 million Offers by Alex Hormozy, or go to acquisition.com and watch that course. So if you've got all that dialed in, you've got your offer down, you've got your traffic dialed in, and you just want to focus on conversion, let me help you. So what we're covering today is 1, when, why, and how to make a VSL. 2, how to double, triple, even 5x your conversions with that VSL. And 3, progress to perfection. And I'll explain what that means later. So first of all, who am I? Well, I'm Yahya. I'm the VSL guy on Skool. That's pretty much all I want to say. I don't want to distract too much from the video, so let's just get into it. So number 1, what is a VSL? Well, a video sales letter, if you look at this about page, you'll see your copy, your graphics here, and then these arrows, then the circle. That's your video sales letter right there. You might notice one thing, and that's that the video sales letter is the most customizable part of your about page. Your copy, there's not really any formatting. You can't bold in or italicize or anything like that. Your graphics, you have a little bit of customization, but your video sales letter is like a first impression for the viewer. When someone visits your about page, this is the first chance they get to listen to you speak. And if you don't, like I don't have any pictures of me in my graphics or in my logo. I do have it in my profile picture, but this is the first time they really get to see you in action, talking and everything like that. So you want to make sure that it's really great. So this is the creator of the VSL, John Benson, and you might notice he's not that old. He's actually pretty ripped. And he just one day thought, why don't we turn traditional sales letters into video sales letters? Why? Well, because traditional sales letters, they're great at selling. They're still used today by all kinds of copywriters like Russell Brunson, Frank Kern, and a bunch of other names you don't know or really care about. But point is, they still work. They're still amazing. But the problem with them is that you're sending someone something that they have to read on their own. And when someone has to read something on their own, they're not going to catch everything. The words on this page right here, there's a lot that people can gloss over and they won't even see. They'll do it intentionally or unintentionally. People just doze off. It happens. So even the most core parts of your offer, even things that would convince that person to buy as soon as possible, they can skip over it. And that vital piece of information can make or break that offer. So John Benson created the VSL in hopes that if you're reading the sales letter to your audience, that even if they zone out, they're at least hearing it in some form or another. Or it's getting to their brain, right? It could get to the back of their head. At least you're trying your absolute best to get it into their heads. And if you want, you could add captions and make it like a dynamic sales letter, I guess. So that's why it exists. Why do you care? Why do you need to know all that? Well, if you're on Skool, conversions are pretty important, and VSLs are pretty important for conversions, right? Hormozi himself said that the VSL that he created for the Skool games community 5x'd his conversions. 5 times. That's quintuple. That's a really big word, right? So it must mean a lot. So in your VSL, you want to be able to paint that picture that you can take your audience from where they're at, which is probably not that great, to where you're at, which is probably amazing, and even beyond. You need to be able to paint that picture in a way that something like the copy, which, as you may notice in today's world, a lot of people don't like to read. The copy might not be able to paint that picture for them. The graphics might not be able to paint that picture for them. The VSL is that big step forward in creating that picture. So how do you do that? How do you make a VSL? So you might have heard of all of these different outlines and frameworks and all of these different things like proof, promise, plan, things like that. But I just want to simplify it as much as possible in your brain. So number 1 is your story. Number 2 is your past clients' stories. And number 3 is your potential clients' stories. You might want to take a screenshot of this or write it down. Either way, just take notes. So your story, also known as your epiphany bridge. So when you're when you're making a business, you're usually solving a problem, like literally every business does, every successful business does. So you want to be able to illustrate what problem you're solving. And the best way to do that for most people, the reason why they created that business specifically is because it solved their own problem. So you can tell that story of how this product itself solved that problem for you. Like Shark Tank, right? You make that pitch, you talk about this saved my life, this made me a ton of money, this helped my relationships with others. And so that epiphany bridge, why it's called that, is because in that story, you go from where your audience currently is, right? That sucky little place, and you take them through that journey of you getting to the top where you are. But there was something in the middle, some epiphany that came to you, some mentor or some thing that came into your life that changed everything for you. And that epiphany is what your offer is, right? So if I'm someone that makes VSLs, maybe for a long time, I was struggling with conversions. I didn't know how they worked. And then one day I just thought, why don't I write a VSL? Or maybe a copywriter came into my life and was like, why don't you write a VSL? And it changed everything for me. And so now I want to change everything for you. I want to help you out, right? So number 2 is your past stories, is that proof. You want to talk about clients that you've worked with in the past. And I'm not going to talk about that in this video because that's not what this video is about. But basically, you just want to work for people for free if you don't have that. So pretty self-explanatory. You just want testimonials, case studies, results from what people have gotten from your help. And then you want to insert that into your VSL. And then the third one is the news story, the vision for your audience. What is that dream outcome going to look like for them? How valuable is this going to be for them? Is it going to make them a ton of money? Is it going to, I don't know, save their life? Is it going to give them financial freedom or help their relationships out or help them with like holistic goat farming? There are a lot of different businesses on Skool. It's really unique. But you just want to be able to illustrate that story for them, right? Like I said, paint that picture in their head. So then after all of that, you want to go into the CTA, call to action. That's just telling them click or tap the button below to join. Can't wait to see you inside. Pretty simple. And then the hook. Now the hook is the first thing in order of your VSL, but I do it the last because it's probably the hardest thing to pull off when you're writing your VSL. You want to make 3 to 5 different variations of your hook because in that first minute of your VSL, that's where most people drop off. Most people are not going to watch beyond that if they don't get that good first impression of your first impression. So you want to talk about it in different ways. Maybe for your hook, you want to ask a question. You want to say, hey, are you 20 years old and you're struggling with day trading? Or maybe you want to say it. You want to say 20-year-olds that are struggling with day trading, right? And you could go on and on. You could ask AI. You could do this and that. Just try to be unique. Try to have fun with it. Try to be creative and create an amazing hook that keeps people watching. So this is kind of the order. I put it in a little like board. I don't know, a whiteboard. Anyway, so write the hook, your story, your past stories, and their story. And you might notice at the top, there's this line that goes back. And so that's kind of how you want to do it, right? It's your story, then the proof, and then the vision. And then you want to back that vision up with more proof. And then you want to go back into that vision and back it up with more proof, right? So you want to keep illustrating what the future can look like for your audience and then back it up with what you've done for your past audience. And then once you've done that, once you've talked about all the proof you can possibly manage to find, then you go into your CTA. And that's it. I mean, it's that simple. Whatever your story is, it depends on who you are. Whatever your proof is, you just insert it. And then with that vision, whatever that dream outcome for you is, depending on your niche, you probably know what people really want, what people are lacking in their lives that you want to solve for them. It's kind of twisting the knife, as people say, like just illustrating it as thoroughly as possible to tap into those emotions. So now I want to talk about that progress into perfection and touch on the thing that holds a lot of people back, which is, again, why I had the hook last, the last thing you want to work on, because of that perfectionism. Because things like the hook are so hard to pull off, you can get stuck there. You can spend hours just trying to write it and then get frustrated and give up and just not even want to write it in the end. So I've given you that framework so you can write it. Now you might be worrying about your camera setup. Maybe you don't have good lighting or even a good camera or anything like that. And that's totally okay because it's always progress before perfection. So when you first make that VSL, I highly recommend, if you are scared of being on camera, if you mess it up all the time, if you don't know how to memorize a script, these are all very valid concerns. It's totally okay. You can make what's called an ugly VSL. And it's kind of what I'm doing right here. This sort of webinar style, this slideshow that I'm doing with just text on the screen, you don't even need to show your camera like I am. If you want to turn off your camera, you totally can. You just go through that slideshow of your script and you just read it off. Dude, I'm telling you, sorry for calling you dude, but copywriters have made millions. That's not a stutter or anything. Copywriters have made millions of dollars off of ugly VSLs. John Benson from before, the guy that created VSLs, that was the VSL he created. Not this one specifically, but an ugly VSL was what he created. Was that ugly slideshow VSL with very basic graphics and nothing really going on. And it worked. It worked. So don't worry if you don't have a professional setup. This will work fine. Now, the next one is Talking Head. This one is, Patrice has a little bit more editing than what you will probably need. It's a great video. I love it, but it's kind of 80-20, right? You just want to focus on the fundamentals of your script. And like I said, if you want to get on camera, you want to talk to your audience, it works a lot better. And so you can just talk to the camera, minimal editing, or you can go up to the editing that Patrice has in her video. I also want to say, actually, in the ugly VSL, you don't even need to use your voice. You can just have like music or something like that and have the text in the middle of the screen just going through, kind of like if you've ever seen a TikTok or an Instagram reel or a YouTube short, when you look at the captions, they're constantly changing and you're just like automatically reading them. So you can make a VSL like that as well. So the one after that is just having fun. If you've ever seen Captivate's VSL, it's Goose walking around in Prague just talking about how they help people with their school communities. And he's got someone holding the camera for him. He's going to different sets. Again, this is something that you don't need to do, but as you get more comfortable making VSLs, it's nice to have that because it sets you apart from other people. And then finally, you've got the Mosey, right? He's got whole teams of people helping him. He's got $100,000 or a Cybertruck to give away to people as an incentive to join. And you might not have all that. That's totally okay. But this is like the final stage. This is the final boss of VSLs. So if you're ever thinking of that, that's totally up to you. I recommend shooting for the moon. So if you want more help, I've actually attached a freebie either up above me or down below me. I have no idea where it is, but it's a plug and play VSL script. So you can make a VSL without even worrying about that perfectionism, like I was saying, without even worrying that about getting frustrated and stuck. You just plug in what you already know about your offer, about you, and then you can make that script and you just read off of it. You can totally steal it from me. It's completely free. And then if that doesn't suit you, if you want even more help, you can book a call with me. And my link is, again, either above me or below me. I have no idea. You can book a call with me one-on-one. It's a free call. I don't want to sell you anything. I just want to help. So you can book that call and we can get on and I can help you 15 to 30 minutes just to get you started on writing that VSL. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Please reach out to me. If you need anything, you can always DM me. My DMs are open. All right, peace.